Hey everyone, welcome back to the Listen Up Girl podcast. Before I start today's episode, I wanted to ask you to please go to the description of this podcast and click on the audience survey link. This survey will help me understand your thoughts about this podcast and my other podcast, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. I have a lot of show ideas, new guests I want to bring on, new topics. But before I start doing that, I would love to get your thoughts. This survey takes less than 10 minutes, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. But let's get into today's news. This is your go-to queer news brief where we talk rights, representation, ridiculousness, and everything in between. I'm Zach Randles-Friedman, and today we've got a packed lineup. Lawsuits shaking the U.S. Air Force, Disney dropping queer characters, Housewives calling out other housewives, and yes, Keith Urban at Mar-a-Lago doing Chappell Roan. It's a lot, so sit back, grab your iced coffee or your drink, and let's jump into today's stories. First, transgender U.S. Air Force members sue the Trump administration. 17 transgender members of the U.S. Air Force have filed a sweeping federal lawsuit accusing the Trump administration of unlawfully stripping them of early retirement benefits they have already earned. According to the complaint, these service members, each with between 15 and 18 years of service, were promised early retirement support under long-standing Air Force rules. These rules explicitly state that the retirement orders can only be reversed under very narrow circumstances, typically involving fraud or administrative error. But in these cases, the Air Force reversed every single trans service member's retirement orders without any qualifying conditions being met. The lawsuit names plaintiffs including Logan Ireland, Ashley Davis, Kara Brimhaw, and Lindell Wally, all decorated service members who built their entire financial future around retirement package the Air Force is now refusing to honor. Advocacy group Glad Law, which is helping lead the case, says these families had the rug pulled out from under them, estimating that each plaintiff stands to lose $1 to $2 million in lifetime benefits. On top of that, they risk losing TRICARE access, the military's healthcare network that would have allowed them to use civilian providers beyond the VA system. This decision effectively forces them out of military service entirely without the safety net they spent nearly 2 decades working towards. This lawsuit will likely be a major test case for how far the administration can go in reshaping military policy for trans Americans. I mean, these people spent their entire career serving this country, and now they're doing this. Unbelievable. Next, Bronwyn Newport calls out housewives at BravoCon. The Real Housewife, Bronwyn Newport, is letting the word and her castmates know exactly where she stands when it comes to LGBTQ+ and trans rights. At BravoCon this past weekend, Newport used her red carpet moment with The Advocate to send message to fans and fellow housewives. She said, "Nobody gets more gender-affirming care than housewives. So if your favorite housewife isn't standing up for the community, especially the trans community, you need to DM them." And she's not wrong. Botox, fillers, lifts, tucks, the girls love their affirming procedures. Newport said it's hypocritical for anyone benefiting from medical aesthetic care to stay silent about rights of trans people who need their own forms of affirming care to live openly and safely. Her words lit up social media, with many calling her a voice of reason in a franchise filled with women who, let's just say, love to dodge accountability. Good for you, Bronwyn. Very proud of you. Next, Same Kiss children's cartoon sparks outrage in Malaysia. Episode 22 of the animated kids show Santiago of the Seas featured a moment of gentle affection. A mermaid named Rio kissing his husband Martin on the cheek. It was sweet, it was wholesome, it lasted maybe a second. And yet, Malaysian viewers were outraged. Several conservative social media users say they were shocked by the married couple's kiss. PAS politician Mohad Noor Hamaz claimed the scene was a threat to the moral fabric of society. He warned that LGBTQ+ ideology was being subtly inserted into children's programming, saying the government must crack down harder on imported media. Malaysia's public broadcaster, RTM, its review found no actions or display of affection suggesting a same-sex relationship, which is strange considering it was literally a same-sex married mermaid couple. Still, the network halted the broadcast to ensure there are no elements that could raise doubt pending further review. Meanwhile, fans of the show ran from 2020 to 2023 are defending the simple moment as age-appropriate and reflective of real families that exist in the world. Next, Disney reveals another openly gay character in Zootopia 2. Girls, gays, and theys, Disney has done it again. This week, the studio dropped its official cast portraits for Zootopia 2, and the internet immediately noticed something exciting. The sequel features another openly gay character in the lineup. Fans are praising Disney's increasingly consistent representation, especially in animated films marketed to families. And of course, the new reveal has people revisiting the first Zootopia, starring a bunny cop and its especially sexy fox, and a Shakira original that still hits. The sequel is being positioned as a bigger, gayer, and more diverse, which is exactly what the audience has been demanding. Next, we have Ohio Catholic school accused of allowing abuse of a gay student. A new federal lawsuit filed this week alleges that administrators and teachers at a high school in Youngstown failed to act football players repeatedly bullied a gay student. According to the complaint, the student endured daily harassment, including homophobic slurs, food thrown at their face, and taunting from teammates, sometimes right in front of teachers who allegedly did nothing to stop it. The lawsuit also holds up the Catholic Diocese of Youngstown responsible, accusing them of ignoring multiple reports over at least a year. If the allegations are true, the school could face serious consequences for violating state anti-bullying laws and federal protections for LGBTQ+ students. Next is Keith Urban performs a Chappell Roan at Lago. In the news that feels like Keith Urban performed a Chappell Roan song at reactions online from confusion to "Girl, what?" as clips began to circulate. Fans questioned why a queer pop anthem was being played in an event hosted by Trump, especially one sung by the ex-husband of Nicole Kidman, an actress known for being very LGBTQ supportive. So yes, it happened. We don't know why, and the internet is still recovering. That is so bizarre. Next story is Trump nominates Justin Olson, anti-trans attorney, to federal judgeship. President Trump has nominated Indiana attorney Justin Olson to a federal judgeship in the Southern District of Indiana, and LGBTQ advocates are sounding the alarm. Olson has worked extensively with the Independent Council on Women's Sports, ICONS, a group that sues colleges and NCAA to block trans-inclusive sports policies. In his nomination announcement, Trump praised Olson for fighting tirelessly to keep men out of women's sports, repeating the administration's push to define gender strictly by biology. If confirmed, Olson will join the federal bench with a track record of challenging trans rights in education and athletes, making this appointment potentially far-reaching. Next story is police confirm assassination threats against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Police in Rome, Georgia, confirmed they have received 2 serious assassination threats targeting Marjorie Taylor Greene and her family. This follows a weekend political meltdown where Trump publicly called Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor for pushing to release the Epstein files. Soon after, local police say they received 2 emails making explicit threats against her life. Authorities are working with federal partners to trace the origins of the messages. Regardless of the political affiliations, threats of violence against elected officials remain a growing concern nationwide. I never thought I would support Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she has really stepped up, and it does not surprise me that the MAGA supporters are doing threats against her life and her family's life. So it's just insane. Nobody should have to go through that, whether they're MAGA or not. Next story is Dutch court rejects asylum claim from American trans woman. A Dutch court has upheld the denial of asylum for Veronica Clifford Carlos, a 28-year-old trans woman from California who fled the United States due to escalating anti-trans police and rhetoric. Clifton Carlos argued that returning to the U.S. would place her at severe risk due to the wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation and current administration's targeting of trans Americans, particularly in healthcare, legal recognition, and federal services. The court ruled that she didn't meet the strict conditions for asylum under Dutch law, which generally require evidence of imminent physical danger. Advocates say the case highlights how Western countries still struggle with defining persecution based on identity. And my last story is drag race winner Onya Nurve exits Kinky Boots national tour. In entertainment news, Onya Nurve, also known as Justin Woody, has unexpectedly exited the Kinky Boots national tour where they starred as Lola. This announcement comes just 3 months after Onya was crowned America's Next Drag Superstar, making the casting a major moment for drag representation in national theater. Production simply stated that Onya is no longer part of the production, offering no further detail. Fans are disappointed, but hopeful Onya will address the situation soon. And that is the news for Wednesday, November the 19th. Thank you so much for listening. If you're not following the show, please leave a comment and please share the show with other people. Thanks so much for listening, and talk to you later this week with more LGBTQ+ news.